If you want to live in a country where we the people govern ourselves instead of these guys, all you have to do is start acting like it. You're watching the Punk Patriot. Every 2 years there's an election of some sort at the federal and state level. Every 2 years the corporate-owned media reports the split between the two corporate parties as being something like 50% versus 50%. That's not entirely true though, because 60% of our eligible voting population doesn't vote. Mathematically, that means that the people who vote only make up 40% of the population. And since that population is actually split 50-50 between two pro-war corporate parties, we're being ruled by the electoral whims of 21% of the population. People on the blue side of that 40% of people who actually vote love to talk about third-party candidates like Ralph Nader as being election spoilers. With the majority of people not even voting, I think we need to take a look in the mirror and see who's really spoiling our elections. Who's really spoiling our government. Mathematically speaking, if, in 2000, everybody who was eligible to vote but stayed at home went out and voted for Ralph Nader, Ralph Nader would have been our 43rd president. Not Bush, not Gore. It wouldn't have mattered that over 1 million people were illegally barred from voting due to fictional criminal records that Jeb Bush and Kathleen Harris in the state of Florida made up. Hey Democrats, it wasn't Ralph Nader that lost the 2000 election. It was election fraud by the Republicans. It wouldn't have mattered that the Supreme Court decided the election results in George Bush's favor, even though Al Gore got more votes. Hey Democrats, again, not Ralph Nader's fault. What it would have meant is that election would have been a landslide for the Green Party, with 60% of the population voting Green, 20% of the population voting for Gore, and 20% of the population voting for George W. Bush. So how come this doesn't happen? Well, for one, we're told all the time by the droopy dogs of the left wing like Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges, the cheerleaders for apathy and cynicism, that we should try not voting, that voting doesn't work, that third parties never have a chance of winning anyway because the corporate elite have such complete control over everything in our lives. Blah, 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 doom and gloom. Here's the truth. We have the vote. We are the ones who are in charge. But either we throw away our vote by voting for people who don't give a fuck about us, by voting for candidates who do not support us on our issues, or we stay home in protest. So what's the real answer? Well, here's my metaphorical call to arms. You need to get off the internet and get into your community, talking with your neighbors. You need to start working to build a third-party community in your town. You need to start getting involved in electoral activism and making third parties a political force to be contended with. For example, there's the Libertarian Party and the Green Party. Both are great alternatives to the corporate pro-war parties. The Green Party at the national level is only around 10 years old, and its infrastructure is skeletal at best. We need people to be organizing in communities all across the entire United States. Build third parties like the Green Party up at the local level. Poland was able to throw off communist rule by organizing small communities and linking together on a national scale. It was called the Solidarity Movement, and it was all done with small, local, decentralized organizing. Here in America, we can easily throw off corporate rule if we just organize. We need a Solidarity 2.0 movement here in the United States. In truth, if you want a government where we the people can govern ourselves and not these guys, all you have to do is start acting like it. Vote. Or if you don't mind being ruled by 21% of the population, stay at home. Fuck if I care.